Hey guys, welcome to your second Scratch to Python tutorial. In this one we're going to learn about math operators, okay? So this is mostly about math. Math in Scratch is not that fun or useful. These blocks are actually kind of annoying. When we get to Python it's going to be easier. We just type math equations or expressions like we're used to. But let's learn how to do it in here, okay? And we're going to talk about these little blocks and maybe even the random block. And then we're going to, basically this assignment is to ask the user for two numbers and then show those two numbers added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided, okay? And maybe even a random number between those two numbers, okay? All right, so that's the goal. If you know what we're doing, just go ahead and do it. You don't need to watch the rest of the video. The rest of us are going to pay close attention and we're going to learn how to do this, okay? Let me quickly show you that this is an operator. It's a math operator. And what is this math operator called? The symbol is a little crossy line. It's pronounced the addition operator. And run it by itself, this operator doesn't do much alone, okay? Operators require operands. The operator is the symbol in the middle that means an action, like adding or combining things, subtracting or removing things, multiplying or growing things quickly, dividing or chopping things up into sections. That's what those actions are, and that's what that symbol means. You might forget that if you do too much math, but these symbols they mean a certain action, and we can do other symbols later on that mean different things, okay? So this addition symbol, obviously we add 2 and 2 and we get some number 1. To see what the result is, we click once. So we got an operator, a single operator in the middle that in Scratch recommends or needs an operand on both sides. In this case, the operands must be numbers. They can't be letters. In Python, they can be numbers. And then when the program runs, when this executes or happens, it simplifies, okay? And that's basically it. We talked a little bit about nesting last time. What if I go 2 plus 1 minus 2 and run the whole thing? Well, the math all gets evaluated. I'm pretty sure it does. Think of these as parentheses, and it does the inner part first. If you've ever studied PEMDAS or order of operations, it's parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. That's the secret for knowing the order of operations. But parentheses, or innermost things, are the most strong. They happen first. So 2 plus 1 happens first, and then a subtract, okay? We'll talk a lot about order of operations later. Let's not worry about it in Scratch, because Scratch actually has a lot of parentheses. It forces these inner things, nested things, to happen first, okay? All right, so what we want to do, if you want to just hear what the assignment is, we're going to ask the user for two numbers using ask. They will be stored in answer, but because we're asking for more than one number, we need to use variables, and we're going to print the answer for these first 5 things for the user, okay? And we're probably going to print the equation and the answer. So let's get rolling. Let's say when I click the cat, when the space bar is pressed, let's do a different. When the space bar is pressed, we are going to ask, give me a number. And that's not a nice way, I should say, please. And it's going to wait. Let's run it. Sorry, let's hit the space bar. Give me a number, 3. Okay. And where's that 3 stored? Well, it's in answer. I need to drag this answer out if I want to use it. But because we're going to ask for 2 numbers, if I go ahead and ask for another number right now, I'm going to select, copy, paste, paste. I'm going to ask twice. If I say 3 and then 2, you'll see that the 3 is gone forever. I lost it. Grammar calls that spitting in the wind. You asked them a question and didn't care what their answer was. You didn't write it down. It's like talking to a bad date. Where are you from? Oh, that's neat. Where are you from? And they didn't really care what you said. I need to write that down in a variable or stuff it in a cubby hole, okay? So let's take a variable. I'm going to call this number 1. And let's go ahead and I'm putting spaces in my variable names because you're not supposed to in Python, but in Scratch it's okay and it's easier to read, okay? So later on we'll learn that. But number 1, we don't want to set it to 0 or 10 or 100. Let's set it to answer. Okay, and let's ask him again. Give me another number. And let's make another variable. Obviously, we're going to call this number 2. And we're going to set number 2 not to 0, but to their new answer. I'm actually going to duplicate answer here and drop it so I don't have to go back to the sensing panel. I've got 2 numbers now. Let's run it and make sure it works. Space bar. 3 and 1. And you can see right there, 3 and 1 for number 1 and number 2. And now I'm going to come down and the cat is going to print or say what is 3 plus 1. Okay, and you're like, well, I know how to do that. 3 plus 1 is 4. If you type 4 here, it's just going to say 4. And next time this runs and the numbers change, it's going to be the wrong answer. So you need to go from thinking about specific problems in programming, like, well, it's 1 plus 2, to solving any problem. What's any number plus any other number? That's the power of programming, is how it can solve any problem or be very flexible. And part of that flexibility is setting up, the right code and using variables that can change. So instead of say that, let's say what's going to go in these holes. Not 1 and 3 anymore, but because we don't know what the numbers are going to give us are, we have to use the variables. Say number 1 and number 2 for 2 seconds. Let's run it. Spacebar. Come on, cat. 9 and 1 should be 10, and it sure is. This isn't good enough for me. I want it to actually print the equation and the answer. It's going to be a lot harder. Let's go get it set up. Okay. We're going to use some plussing for the answer, but we also can use a lot of join, I think. First off, let's see if we did. It's easier to think about a specific situation, a specific answer. So let's go 3, and I need plus 1, and I'm probably going to have to join more things here. I'm going to have to nest a join. I want these in different slots. So let's go 3 plus 1. We know the answer is 4. Let's go get an equal sign. Let's go join again. We're going to put this join in one side, and it depends where you click on the join. You need to click on the word join for the block you want to move, and it will bring all of its nested blocks with it. 3 plus 1 equals. Okay, that's an example of a math equation I want. And I know you're like, whoa, that's a lot of math. But we're going to do one more join for the answer. Okay? I'm doing this with 3 plus 1 because that's easy. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Now that I see a specific equation and answer, let's go plug in the variables, okay? Now you need to start thinking more general. This is probably one of the hardest things people do in programming, is go from a specific 3 plus 1 equals 4 to a general variable equation, okay? So, well, what was number 1? It can be either of the numbers, right? But it needs to go in one of the number slots. So I'm going to put it here for the 3, okay? And now it would be this 9 if I ran this. Let's go run it. Let's double click it, single click it, sorry, and it'll spit out. Now let's put a 9 there. And 9 plus 1 equals 4 is wrong. But let's keep going. I want the plus to stay there. I need a plus. 9 plus, let's run this again. 9 plus 1, yeah, it's doing these two numbers, equals 4. That's wrong. I could go type a 10 in here. But again, well, let's do it. Let's plug this in. 9 plus 1 equals 10. Let's run it. Spacebar. 9, 1. 9 plus 1 equals 10. Woo-hoo! Okay? And you're patting yourself on the back, but your excitement was premature. 3 and 2. 3 plus 2 equals 10. Son of a gun. Okay, so now I don't want the hard number. I'm going to call them hard, solid numbers. I want a variable number in there, something that's the right answer, okay? So remember, this left side over here, all of this is the equation. It's giving me a 9 and a plus and a 1 and an equal sign. The right side of the equal sign, this last hole, is going to be the answer. What's the answer? It's not 10 plus 10. It's not 3 plus 2. It could be any of those. But what's the answer for num1 plus num2? Well, it's going to be the variable number 1 plus the variable number 2. Let's go verify that this works. That is a 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's plug that in the answer slot. Let's hit spacebar again, or whatever you chose to run the program. And 3 plus 9 is 12. That is awesome. I have the first one done. I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to change this plus to a minus.
Can I get Brittany Nunn, Wyatt Sharp to the front office, please?
You can right-click on an operator. You could pull this out.
Kinnicker, please come to the front office.
You could pull this out and go plug in everything again. The easier way to do this in Scratch is to right-click on this and change it to a minus. And check this out. It's just going to work, okay? It's going to say, let's try it. Spacebar. 3 and 8 is 11 when you add them, and 3 minus 8 is negative 5. I want you to finish off for times and divide, and we won't do random right now. You could pick a random number, but that's going to take more explanation. Times and divide are what we want next. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.